Okay, everybody, welcome back to Heal Yourself Naturally. We've been gone for so long. So many things happening in all of our lives. It was hard to get dates together. But thank you for being patient with us. Thanks to all of our live viewers, anybody who's watching us live right now, we really appreciate it. Okay, we have so much to cover. We finished, all of our previous discussions about the head. We went into the neck, or briefly, Sara and Hava went over, the neck area without me one day. Now we're going down, down, down into the lungs. Okay, so we're talking about lungs today. Different different things to do with lungs, mainly, different types of coughs, right? Because I can say I'm coughing, but there's different types of coughs, whether they be wet or dry. Is it phlegmy? Is it just at nighttime? Are you having difficulty breathing and you're coughing? So basically, we're going to be talking about all of that, what you can do to help eliminate and treat those symptoms, as well as different herbs to help strengthen the lungs, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so let's talk about dry coughing, right? Sara, you know, right? There's so many reasons why you could be dry coughing. Give us a couple. There are so many reasons. Give us a couple, and what you would generally tell a client to do if they have a persistent dry cough.
Yeah, there's a few reasons, like just at the top of my head. One is GERD.
Right?
So acid reflux is the source for a lot of people that just have a cough.
Right.
And sometimes people have just irritated lungs because of dust or wood stoves, or I mean, bronchitis is a problem for people. So those are the things that I can think of at the top of my head that I would, consider could be why someone has a dry cough. Maybe they're, not if they're a smoker. It's usually not a dry cough, but it could be a persistent cough if they were a smoker. So I'd be asking a lot of questions about their environment and what's going on, and if they have GERD or not, if they have acid reflux or not, things like that. Um, so yeah, and then you want to know what I would do about it? Is that what you said?
Yeah, what you would suggest someone to, alleviate the dry cough, right? Because there's phases. It starts with a dry cough. It could become more phlegmy depending on the cause, right? Like you said, bronchitis could be a cause. Could start off as a dry cough, but then become a phlegmy cough, which is like a good thing because right. So, what would you suggest to someone? I know because there's so many reasons why you can have a dry cough. Like, what's a way to alleviate the symptom or get rid of it altogether?
So, so actually, my daughter had a dry cough the other day, so I'll just use what I do for her, what I did for hers. Expect
Uh-huh.
it. You got to expectorate that. You got to break it up.
Right.
If it's a dry cough just because of irritation, that's one thing. If it's a dry cough because it's the first stage of a cold and it's just not like the phlegm is just compacted in there and not moving anywhere, then we're going to break that stuff up. So the first thing I would do is mullein tea, mullein and probably some licorice. Those two go really nicely together as a gentle expectorant and anti-inflammatories. Mullein is um, is really it's really good at helping support the lungs' ability to excrete. So it's gonna help it's gonna start the process of alleviating the phlegm and coaxing it out of there. Uh, so I would be doing mullein tea with licorice, and and then I would be doing steams.
Right.
Two of the steam, like just plain steam, like just water. So I wouldn't even worry about doing too many herbs with that. You can, going to time
Or
and
add a humidifier. Like some people like to have a humidifier in the room if they have a persistent cough. But you would suggest also just like maybe taking a bowl of boiling water and then like covering your head or
yeah,
getting in a
definitely.
steamy shower,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Those are two different
So
ways you can
cool
get
mist
steam.
or a warm steam. I like the warm because the warm I mean, humidifiers are great, don't get me wrong. So that's always a
I
good.
prefer warm too. I'm just saying some people like to have or have humidifiers at
Yeah,
home and they think to grab it right away.
yeah, yeah. But the steam, the warm piece, because it helps stimulate movement. Heat is going to increase the circulation and
Right, penetrate
the
faster.
bowl get in there. Yeah, so a steam, and then I'd be doing really nice warm teas. I make a cough syrup too, but you know, you don't have to make it. You don't have to have some fancy schmancy formulation. You can just do a couple of herbs and just do the
Right.
tea. Mullein
And then
licorice.
also, I just want to point out to whomever is experiencing a cough, if it's not a stomach related issue, like, like you said, some people with acid reflux or GERD or whatever can can get a dry cough or a cough in general. But if it's virus or cold related, then obviously we want to add on to that like an immune booster,
Sure.
something to help boost your immune system so that you
Yep.
can fight off that cough faster.
Yep.
Um, okay, Hava, what's another favorite herb of yours for a cough, for a dry cough, or just, what would you tell someone to do? It could be not even herb related, right? Like what's something that you would just like how she mentioned some steam, what's something that you would suggest for persistent dry cough?
Well, if the cough is dry and barking, then I would suggest lobelia because it helps to kind of relax the muscles. It's really, and even if it's related to digestive issues, I found the lobelia kind of helps because it also works on nerves. So when you're coughing, it becomes the muscle start working hard. So you want to bring them into that's why Sara is using licorice because it's calming from one side, and mullein is, so the same way I feel lobelia it really helps. And also applying lobelia over the neck helps very much because it helps to relax the muscles, to put everything into like calm down. So that's one thing. And also, like I would say, we always say lobelia is an emergency herb, so it helps in most cases, right? Then I usually would give just the honey, just take a honey by teaspoon and just chew on it. And honey helps to coat as well. So if you don't have any fancy herbs that we're mentioning, the honey really is doing wonderful job. Now you might say another wonderful thing that helps very much, and it's an old remedy. And I know many people might say that's crazy, but actually what we would do in Georgia is boil a warm, not boil, but simmer milk, raw milk with honey and some cinnamon. I don't know why. That's another one that helps very much to soothe the passage. You understand why you're coughing. So, once you provide like an environment where you feel soothed, even if it's acid related, it's always soothes down. I remember many years when I suffered, so I used honey as a medicine. Just munching on honey every morning would soothe the passages. Okay, so honey with milk, and obviously people only who used to have a milk, not for people who never had the milk in their lives. You should avoid. We're just using common sense again. Then another options that I would do is I for some reason found problem issues with humidifiers because many people are allergic to the mold as well. And sometimes a simple cough, the dry cough can be actually caused because of the mold. Mold is invisible. And when you put a steam, you can actually aggravate the situation because what is this cold mist and steam? It's wet. A wetness creates mold. Mold creates mold in lungs. Not good. So, yes, that's what I used 30 years ago when my children were grown. But then I realized it's not so healthy. So, that I would kind of be cautious about that. And specifically for people who live already in the areas where they are more on the East Coast, on England, all the dumpy areas, Oregon, dumpy area. You don't want to create more dampness, and unless you have at home a heater which dries out the whole entire thing, which is drying is a good from for some reason, better than just providing, dampness. But that's another thing. Then I usually also use other suggestions like clapping. You know me already, and I'm so much passionate about the clapping, educating people to clap over certain areas. And I'm not clap for a second. Some people do, okay, I clap. No, one day I'm going to take you on this journey and we're going to all clap together, and I'm going to show you what it really is doing, because we speaking but we don't understand once we experience all this together. So when we one show we're going to do just by clapping for 15-20 minutes, I'll take you on this journey. You'll see, you will be mind blown, because the stories that I hear, it's absolutely incredible about the people who had the dry cough, who had a cough that they would tear up the parts and would bleed as well. Sometimes too much cough can cause that as well. And it's incredible stories just by clapping, bringing in circulation, right? We bring in circulation. So lobile helps to calm, but on the other hand, we bring in more blood flow, more oxygen. Um, yeah,
Right,
so
because
you
like Sarah mentioned, you want to, excuse me, like a dry cough is still extremely compacted until things loosen up in there, right? So doing something like clapping could help, quicken the process of loosening it up. Also, I know it's poor decorum, but if you are coughing and phlegm is coming out, find a space to spit it out because you don't want that garbage back in your body. Your body's working hard to extricate that garbage. So do yourself a favor and not swallow it back in, right? We don't want to.
no.
Well,
You're so-
some people do. It's not,
yes,
you got to
I
teach
agree with you.
common sense. You got to reteach people common
That's
sense when
actually
they,
sinuses why they build up. That's why the
right,
sinuses build up, because people
right, because
don't
we're
take
not
it, and
actually
then they
removing.
and then
Right. So, and we did a whole series on sinuses and how to alleviate that pressure. So, if you're someone who is suffering from a cough and also sinus trouble, watch this video along with the other one, our other podcast or episode, in order to figure out how to alleviate also the sinuses. So once it drains here, it usually comes down here. Now we're teaching you to do what to do when it comes down, if your body is not
oh,
removing it
application
properly.
of the hot bottle.
Right.
Hot bottle is a miracle,
The
and you can do
best.
it in the back and you can do it the front, and that actually helps, because what he does expands fear, um, everything. When we cough and it dry, you need to understand it's like the tree is drying, it's all the branches dry, the tree is collapsing. But once you provide heat and nourishing, then you provide healing. So it's very important to have on hand. Okay, let's
Right.
continue.
And if you don't have a hot bottle, you can always use like a warming blanket, electrical blanket, right?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure people have these tools. We'll one
Sure.
day do a whole episodes on tools that are necessary to keep in the household. I think it's really important that everybody learn, what tools to keep in the household so that you can, heal yourself naturally. So now, one thing that was not mentioned that I can attest to that's very useful in my household, the lovely onion, right? Coughing, if you put onions and the heat bottle, either on the feet, on the lungs, in those areas, whether it be a virus caused, a cough caused by a virus or not, or just a simple cold, it helps break that down so quickly, and, soaks up the bacteria that's around, as well as helps alleviate the cough. I found it so essential to make sure I have onions in my house at all times. So I just wanted to mention to people, onions are a huge thing to have at home at all times, not just one when you go to the market just for your recipe. Just buy a few, keep them at home. They keep for a very long time. So, okay, let's go to the next one. There's also wet coughs. or like a phlegmy cough, right? So we said a dry cough can become a wet cough, or rather we want it to become a wet cough because we need to release whatever is compacted in our lungs. What do we do when it gets to the point where it becomes a red cough, Sarah? I mean, a wet cough. Sarah, what do you have? What do you have to suggest for some viewers?
Well, we still want to expectorate. We still want to get that gunk out of there.
Right.
And I've had these conversations with moms that they are kind of fearful of giving their children expectorants for a cough that's seemingly productive. And I said, well, it's seemingly productive, but they're coughing a lot. So if they're coughing a lot, that means it's not really productive, even though there's stuff coming up.
Good. Yeah.
So yeah. So I personally I use, well, elecampane is an excellent herb for a very wet cough. And I use it, and I use lobelia with that one because lobelia will help open up the lungs and the elecampane will help move the stuff out. I also like to use mullein root or even a little bit of mullein leaf as well. Even if it's a wet cough, you still want to encourage everything to expectorate and get the heck out of there. So I would oftentimes send my children to bed with a little shot glass of the cough syrup, and then if they wake up coughing, to take more. And my kids rarely ever cough through the night. When they do is now that they're in college.
Because you're not there.
Because they're not doing the herbs that I sent them.
And God knows what they're doing in college, right?
God knows. I know
Yeah.
some of it. I don't need to know the
Right.
rest.
No, you know.
I trust my kids to make good choices, but we're
Yeah.
not always going to make good choices. But it's like you don't have to suffer with a cough if you're using these wonderful herbs. So elecampane, lobelia together. I'd always add in a little mullein and hyssop. So hyssop officinalis is another really nice herb for that tickly cough that happens. And so the combination of all of those together, either in a tea or in an extract or even in a syrup, I personally like a little sweetness, a little yin, with these, especially for kids to take them. And that combination works really, really well for any kind of cough. And then of course elderberry. Elderberry is excellent in that regard. So you could make a tea with the elderberry and it really tastes good too. So
Right. And
that's
you can
what I
add
would
that
do.
to whatever syrup you're cooking up or whatever, right?
Yep. And
Um,
also, I mean, I won't name all the plants, but thyme is really good for wet coughs. So okay, then I'm done. I swear.
yeah. Okay, well,
I'm gonna save some for Hava.
time is something that a lot of people have in their, you know, pantries.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Thyme leaf,
So
just
it's
like you put
also
on. Yep.
time leaves. Yeah, the stuff that you cook with, it can be dried. And if you guys do not recall our previous episodes of how to properly make a tea or a water infusion, Sarah's mentioned in the past that whatever container you have, you fill up. You cover it with boiling water or warm water, loosely cap it, and then let it sit for 24 hours. If not, if you're just making a quick tea, make sure it steeps for at least, right, like 10 minutes in order to get the medicinal use, would you
Yeah,
say?
I would say
Yeah.
that.
And
Yeah.
then enjoy a nice tea with some honey as well, because that's just going to alleviate and coat the throat. So if you're someone that's coughing up a lot, whether it be wet or dry, your throat will get irritated after a good amount of time of coughing. Um, what is something else, Hava, that most people have at home that can help alleviate a wet cough?
Well, you mentioned onions, right? So
Right,
well, you can also use the onions on the bottom of the feet and not only on the chest.
right,
You can also use a garlic. I found that because we're so bio individual, some people for them onion works like magic, and there is a people for them onion not doing anything. In that case, I would suggest garlic. So you should be keep mind open and see if you've done one time poultice over the night and you don't see progress, then I would suggest you switch to the garlic. Garlic is much more stronger, and maybe you need a more stronger herbs in that case. So that you should be all aware of that. And the next thing that I usually also would suggest is something that you have at home. Okay, so another thing is doing an enema. Now you might say, what the hell? Well, because
Okay, I'll say it. What the
Why
hell?
am I shooting up there when I need it down here? Right? Okay,
well,
let's hear
because
it. No,
uh,
you're right. I wanted to make light of the whole, morbid
you're gonna
enema
go to
talk.
CVS and purchase something to open up, because what if you're holding a mucus, that means mucus is a good thing. Okay, let's straighten the whole things down. Mucus, coughing are incredible body's way to speaking with you. This is the language. There's nothing wrong about that. So if you cough with dry or mucus or wet cough, it's amazing. You are blessed. Why? Because if you would not cough, then we would say, oy vey, it's problem. But what is the mucus? It's basically built up of some sort of a toxicity. Now, we don't need to dive more into the specific. Now, mucus is a part of healing. The body brings all the toxins and puts them in a garbage bag. So the mucus is a garbage bag. Now, you have a few options: sweat the stuff out or poop the stuff out. Most people, they cannot poop it out because they're blocked. They don't go to the bathroom. I've seen an amazing result. Once you open down there, in a few minutes, everything settles down. Why? Because the body is not stupid. The body is coughing, telling you out, out, out. And what we do? Oy vey, we go to the doctor and they suppress the cough. Do you understand what's happening? This is a disaster what they're doing to our people. To it's just ridiculous. So the body, as a smart God's given machine, tells you, I want this stuff out. And then you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, oh, I'm going to give you a suppressing. You're not going to see that you're not going to longer cough anymore. You're going to take the medicine. Oh, I'm not coughing anymore. Well, where all that shit went? Where? Somewhere, right? So
You do a
we,
good doctor impersonation, by the way.
Right.
right?
That's a good
Yeah,
doctor.
next time I should wear a white
It's
You
a
should.
hottie dottie
hello.
doctor. But yes, no, I agree, right? The like Hava explained it in layman's terms. Basically, when the body is sick, when there's an issue, whatever it may be, when there's a wet, mucousy cough, it is a good sign. Why? Because everything is compacted into that disgusting mucus, and we need to help expel it. It has to come out, like Sarah mentioned, right? So an enema is a good way to release toxicity in
Spit
the
it out.
body,
Spit it
to get
out.
it out,
Yeah.
even though it's not, the enema is not reaching into your lungs, but you are alleviating the body's toxic overload.
Uh,
So the body can properly then focus on another area of the body to, get
Isn't
it
that
out.
beautiful? That's beautiful.
It's, yeah, I mean, really, the body is very simple when you break it down the way we do on this podcast, which is what I love about our discussions, is because we kind of, simplify the scary part of healing, right? I don't know why I, I meant to say scary, not healing. We are healing. It's not scary. Um,
That's scary.
so we are simplifying, what people are scared about, because it's really not scary at all. It's, child's play at the end of the day when you learn how the body works.
Yeah.
So one thing that I know is simple, and you mentioned cinnamon, Hava, when infused with the honey and milk. So cinnamon can help alleviate cough. So if you're making a thyme tea, you can take a cinnamon stick as well and stick that into your tea, and that will also
Yeah.
help with, getting the gunk out.
Another
As
wonderful herb is pears.
pears, yeah.
Actually, making a compote from pears.
Hmm.
It's really, really good. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, or you can cook down. I've seen recipes. I've actually, told friends to do this, and they have done. They basically cook down pears in a pot with cinnamon sticks, then drink the water and eat the pear. Cough is gone.
Yeah.
Everything is out by a couple of days time if you're, consuming that liquid. Also, I believe isn't pineapple, the
Pineapple,
enzymes in the pineapple, right? Yeah.
Very good. Pineapple juice is good.
Pineapple
Yeah.
juice. Yeah. So
bromelain.
taking
Yep.
pineapple, if you don't have a juicer, blend it all up. You can take the pulp out or even drink the pulp. That's great. And those are
Yep.
very, very basic things that you should or could have at home at all times, or just run to the market. It might not be something like lobelia, but if you need a quick fix, right? A run to the supermarket can get you these things. We always suggest a lot of the herbs that we mention throughout uh, very many series that we do. So many episodes mention the same herbs. So the ones that are often mentioned, there's a reason for it. They can heal and treat very, very many different ailments in the body. So please take note if you are just starting on our podcasts, or just listening for the first time. Go listen to the other ones. There's a ton of brilliant information that we really want to share with everybody.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
okay, so let's continue. Okay, coughing at night. We did mention, Sarah mentioned briefly, like a persistent cough at night. Anything that we've mentioned thus far can help alleviate that, especially a warm bottle like
Mhm.
Hava showed us, right? So putting that on, or any type of salve that can help with congestion. Um, I know, Sarah. Do you sell a salve for congestion?
I do. It's my it's my vapor rub.
Right, exactly.
So
Like
I use
natural vapor of.
the menthol crystals, and I use
Right,
camphor, essential oils, lavender,
right.
probably some thyme. Essential oils are great, and may I make and put it right on the chest.
Right, we didn't mention that. So if you don't have anything on hand, but you do have some essential oil like eucalyptus oil,
Yep.
that's really great to, if even if you don't have a steam shower or anything fancy, just throw a couple drops on your shower floor while you're
Yep.
showering. It'll come right up.
Awesome.
It
Yep.
helps clear. You're able to breathe. You can also, if you are going to use it on your body, make sure that you use another oil with it, right? Don't put
Clear oil.
it's yeah,
Carrier.
a
Yeah.
carrier oil. You don't want to put an essential oil straight onto the skin. A lot of people get a reaction to it because it's so concentrated. So just be mindful of that. So mix a carrier oil in there.
Always, always, always. Yes.
Yeah, always mix a carrier oil.
All that.
So anyways, both of our ladies, both of our healers, um, sell congestion
Yeah.
salve.
I have
So
cough syrup too.
right. And they both have a cough syrup. So please, 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 we always,
Yes.
we don't
We're
often,
like, what's up?
right? We don't often send, I don't often suggest to buy products. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, but I can firsthand tell you that these amazing women have formulated these things over the course of years of being in this type of practice. And they're always changing formulas, adding to things, perfecting them, and then re-perfecting them. So I do like to give a shout out when a shout out is due. You can visit sarahsherbs.com or havawellness.com and shop. If something is not on the website that we've mentioned throughout any of our podcasts, you can always reach out by phone or email, and you'll find their contact information on their website. And it's something that you can easily get shipped to you, as well as set up consultations and get to speak with them one on one if there is an issue that has arisen. So I highly suggest getting in touch with these ladies or just visiting their websites and buying their products. I believe in them. And if I believe in them, everybody should.
Or I also thank you. I also
Yeah.
recommend it, even if you just have a question about something, to reach out because,
Right, right,
you
right,
know,
right.
yeah, I
To
mean,
pick
yeah,
their brain.
yeah.
We and as always, whenever we're suggesting, for ailments or diseases that are more hardcore than just a simple cough, or we have spoken about some pretty deep things here, conditions. I don't want to mention it because I think we got flagged one time for the C word, right? Remember? Or like a
Few
video was
times.
removed for the C word. um, Not the bad C word that is a derogatory name, but C disease. So,
Unbelievable.
anyways, I
Yeah.
know, unbelievable. But my point is that we always suggest within our podcast too, if you don't want to work with these ladies, or don't have the means to, or you want to see someone locally in person, and they're not local to you, then please work with another herbalist, or a natural health practitioner. When dealing with the more hardcore diseases, it's always good to have someone in your corner that's able to you know moderate, or change, or give you a specific treatment plan to your issue. Okay, enough about that. Let's talk about coughing due to indigestion. So, or coughing after eating. So, someone that is constantly coughing after eating. So, it can be a sign of indigestion, like we've said, or like some sort of IBS, right? Some kind of syndrome due to improper bowel movements, etc. But or sometimes often liver related, right? That's a note that you guys have mentioned to me, often liver related. Hava, what do you suggest for someone if they're coughing after they're eating?
Well, I usually, I would, okay, so besides what we mentioned, the enema, I would also, and the bowel food formula helping to clearing out the toxins. I would also work on restoring the microbiome. And actually, restoring the microbiota are the most important things because that's a fight between good and bad guys. And that's where I think that many people don't know about that the probiotics are playing the most important role in our health. And you might say, if we all would do the podcast maybe 80 years ago, we would not speak about that because it was irrelevant in our times. Because at that time, the food was not sprayed with glyphosate. At that time, there was no toxic pollution everywhere. There would not be smart people who would want to destroy us or, whatever, depopulate us, there would
I
be
think that's a
no.
flagged word also.
I know it's like,
Right.
I don't think so.
We've
No,
got to
the
be
bank,
really careful nowadays. We don't know what'll
Okay,
shut us down.
whatever. So, yeah,
they
okay, fine. So,
depopulate. We're talking about
Deep-
animals.
yeah.
depopulate, okay.
Yeah.
Well, so that's the whole idea, see, and then we would not cover about this topic, but right now this is the one of the most important topics. We are in such a horrible stage, and unfortunately many probiotics don't have a good name because many people are on probiotics, they don't see any results, and that's why I always encourage people to work with and trust the sources and know from inside who is the one who's making their medicine. That's why when we come and speak, so you met Sara, you met me, Nicole. So we are here to empower you. We for sure don't want to create a problem. We want to heal. We are on a mission. But many people, when they go into the business, their mission is unfortunately, to make money. They're not there to heal. They're not gonna, waste time for you to heal you. You're irrelevant as long as the bank is growing. So you need to know who prepares your probiotics. And that's why in that case, we work with the mother of probiotics, the woman who created the probiotics in the first place. And that's what she tells us, we are lacking essential microbes. And when we are lacking, what settles? A disease. So, cough, indigestion, bloatness, headaches, everything. 80% of our system, immune system, is in our gut. So, if our system is not healthy, we are not healthy. And that's what I would right away would put the people on a superdophilus strain as the beginning to at least as reseeding a good bacteria. And many people, as we know, go through a horrible misuse of antibiotics. And what happens in our times that people go on one time on the then they go back on the second or sometimes on the third round, and then they never actually had the chance to restore the gut microbiome, and then they have a more coughs. Now the coughs are no longer here there. Now they become aggravated. Now they become how this world saying that they now that
Chronic.
Persistent.
chronic,
Chronic.
very well, chronic cough. So you will go back to the root of the problem, and we're giving them probiotics at least 2 to 3 times a day. That will be a good beginnings to start taking a probiotics.
You would suggest it though before eating. That way, the body, it has time, a little bit of time to
Right.
absorb, right?
Right. So the way we work, we start from in the morning or in the evening. We start slowly receding, especially people who've been on the antibiotics for a long time. They have so much bad guys in their system that when you throw a good guys, the good guys are like, we don't want to live here. We want to go because remember, everything is about survival. We all want to live, and also bad guys, they want to survive as well as the good guys. They always fight for survival. So when it comes to that, it's very important to receding slowly. Don't jump quickly. Many times people go to these famous professors and they're injecting straight through the fecal, and they're doing such a horrible problems because you cannot recede so quickly so much good guys that can cause a pressure detox or many others. So we work much smarter, and we are receding slowly. So I would suggest twice a day. Then slowly you can get another strain, which is a bulgaricum, then bifidonate, and then get a final combination with a trio, which is a combination of 3 bacteria together. And please do not buy any other probiotics.
Right, because a lot of
90%,
people over the counter can, it's
they're
like
useless.
a straight 1 million bajillion.
I know.
There's so many different strains together, blah blah blah. Count bacteria, right? So, like you said, it's a shock to the system. A lot of times, the different type of bacterial strain can actually cause harm. So, your suggestion, especially if someone is having a cough due to, digestive issues, is slow introduction of good bacteria
In most
prior to.
cases, for all, Nicole, I would suggest actually for all. I would
Yes,
not.
I know, but we're just
Yes,
talking
yes,
about
but for
coughs, right?
all, everyone,
Yeah,
everybody.
everybody should introduce good bacteria into their gut. We always talk about gut health being the most important thing that we should focus on regardless, because all disease starts in the gut. That is another one of our episodes, exact
Right.
title. Go back to it. I think it's one of our first
First
episodes,
one.
like the
Yes.
third one or what.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So all diseases start in the gut. Everything cooks up in there and then, surfaces in one or the other area in your body, whether it be an organ or whatever. We've discussed this in every single one of our episodes. Every single episode, we talk about how it relates. It all goes back to your gut.
Yeah.
So, yes, I believe that introduction of good guys is a great way, to help boost, the system that is the body, so that we can help fight off different types of illnesses. So, yes, start off if you have digestive issues, from what you're saying, basically, by slow introduction of the good bacteria, so good probiotics. Don't believe in every brand that you get. Do thorough research in the
We
brands.
should say which one is the best. The best is the Protren. It's for us as a professionals, and the Natren is just for the simple people if they go to the health food store.
Yeah, so basically, ProTrend, you're saying, is more for
For me
that
and
you can,
Sara, that we
yeah,
can
you
take
can
to the
receive it
people.
only as a
There are much
professional.
higher strains also. So when we
Right.
give
So
something like
it's a prescribed strain. So
right,
there's different strength of it. So you're saying that one Protren is a prescribed strain. Natron is something that you can find over the counter in most health food stores. Again, we don't name drop products. So if we do, we, believe in them. So buy a good probiotic, invest in a good probiotic, and yeah, slow introduction. Then once your body starts to heal, like, whether it be an acid reflux, your body will be able to break down food more properly. So you won't have that, acidity issue. Um, and cough will subside. But
yeah,
use all of the above, everything that we've discussed before, to alleviate the cough.
Right.
Also, what did I want to ask Sarah right now? It was on the tip of my tongue as I was closing out after Hava's statement. Um,
I don't know.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I could add.
I've had brain fog today.
Well,
And we had a podcast about brain fog, everybody. So please all go back and look at it.
You use
But
some rosemary.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
get some circulation in my brain, feed my brain a tad bit. But
well, I can
yeah,
add to the whole cough
yeah,
thing.
add
You
to
want
it
to
so
think
then
about
I
it.
can think back.
You can think. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I think Hava's suggestion is amazing, and it's so rudimentary to gut health. Uh,
right,
Most people have pathogenic bacteria in their guts that can inhibit, the whole process. But I'd be looking at stomach acid. Um, Most people don't make enough, and it could be, the pathogenic bacteria in the gut could contribute to that, but
right.
also
Like the
just the
suppression of that, you're saying?
yeah, but
Mhm.
essentially stomach acid is a process that starts in the stomach, and it starts
Right,
when you see food and you start chewing, and your stomach is already getting ready. Those cells in the stomach are going to start spitting out hydrochloric acid, and many people are on proton pump inhibitors or H2 agonists, which are the antacids that are pills, not just the
right,
Tums or the Rolaids,
right.
but it's like the
Prescribed ones,
pills that
right?
are prescribed, so or the Prilosec, that inhibit stomach acid. So if you don't have enough stomach acid, that upper esophageal sphincter, that the part of the top of the stomach which is supposed to close,
Please, yeah.
because your
Mm-hmm.
stomach is like a bag, right? That should
Right,
hold liquids. And when you eat through peristalsis, which is the muscle movement, you swallow, that's peristalsis. It's going right down into your stomach. Your stomach opens, and it should close when there's acid in there. What happens is many people don't have enough acid, so that what we call the upper esophageal sphincter stays open, or they have a hernia which makes it stay open, which is called a hiatal hernia, and that's very common. And if it stays open when you eat, you're going to get acid that comes up through the esophagus, and you're actually going to it goes into your lungs too, and it creates a lot of lung problems. And never mind if you have asthma or you suffer from bronchitis or whatever, people who don't have diseased lungs can have a cough based upon just strictly that is low stomach acid. So what I would do is, after a series of questions, certainly recommending probiotics and gut health, excuse me, in general, I would be doing bitters before meals, ruling out a hiatal hernia. You don't want to do bitters with a hiatal hernia, but I'd be doing bitters before meals to increase stomach acid and get that stomach fire moving so that sphincter closes, and you don't get, the the backlash, I guess you could say, of stomach acid coming up through and causing all the problems, causing, inflammation of the esophagus, Barrett's esophagus.
what are some bitter herbs most commonly helpful? And then some bitter, I mean, when we say herbs, also it can be bitter foods, right? Because some
Yep.
plants are bitters that we eat that we can consume. So give us one herb, one food. They're both
So,
food. But
so one food would be, uh, well, arugula is a nice bitter green that you can eat before meals. And then I usually again use combinations of herbs, but gentian is one of the most bitter of
yeah,
the roots that we use for digestion. So gentian is I think it's in the Swedish bitters that people would use in, like, in an alcoholic drink. It's a
Right.
typical formulation people use in their old fashions and stuff.
I
right.
think also
Many
add
people,
angelica root.
what was that?
You add angelica root also in.
Angelica, yeah. And many alcoholic beverages are used for after dinner to help with digestion. And
Right.
they
And
used
if
to
you're
be
trying
they
to,
all used to be plant-based, But now, because of the new wow and synthetic, and it's so much better if it's not from a plant,
Right.
they just fake the taste, but maybe not some good liquors, but anyway,
Right.
so
But
I
we're
would be
suggesting also, especially not after meals to take it, but before meals so that your body can start
correct.
producing, like you said. So the production of acid is also okay, A, by seeing the food, so your body is preparing itself because the mind is sending the message. Then upon opening the mouth, and then you said chewing. A lot of people don't chew properly. So they're not right. So saliva is not gathering up properly when you swallow. So those enzymes also start in your mouth. And, there are digestive enzymes that you can take before eating as well. Um, so that, production of those, you know, the whole digestive system can work better.
Juices, just call them juices.
Right, right. So chew properly, people. If you're someone that likes to eat fast, okay, maybe slow down a little bit or just chew a little bit more. Also try not to drink so much while you are eating. Right. So unless it's something that's extremely dry and you need help swallowing it down, try to reduce the amount of liquids you put into your body during your meal because you don't want to wash everything out that's in your gut. So if you're someone that's producing less acid, stomach acid, and you're washing it out with water or whatever type of garbage that you're drinking at the time, right? Because at the end of the day, anything that's not water or some kind of healing tea is not that great for you, especially while you're eating. So reduce that so that your body can break down the food that you're eating more. Um, okay, let's quit. We don't have so much time and we didn't talk about a lot because we got so
Let's get into the energetics and we can end with that. How's that sound?
right. Okay, go for it. You can start off then.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
right. Well, lungs carry grief, lungs carry loss, lungs carry heaviness, lungs carry um that emotion. It's also reflected in communication as well. So many people who have throat chakra issues, right? Or even heart issues will probably present with some lung stuff. Now, this energetics can kind of bleed over into a physical issue. So, loss of a loved one, holding on to grief is the energy of the lung. And we have to remember that as an aside too, the lung is a water organ, not an air organ. So it can hold on to a lot of stuff. Water has memory, right? And so that's what we see in the lung. So it's grief, it's loss, and it's issues with communication, and it can be resentment, associated with the heart as resentment, betrayal. Um, I see a lot in the heart in regards to people being betrayed. Either they're cheated on or someone betrayed them. It lives in the heart a lot. So that's my spiel on that.
Yeah, I could even see it while you're talking. I mean, if you hold on to a lot of that grief and anger and tight, it's going to be that tightness in the chest, which is the lungs. So letting go a lot of that emotional turmoil can
Yeah.
translate into your lungs healing,
And I
right?
want to mention, yes, and I want to mention too that, it's really indicative for me as a practitioner and energy worker that when someone cries a lot or is quick to cry or has a hard time speaking about their emotions or getting things out,
Hmm.
um, they cry. This is all about throat and lung and holding on to it and not properly, whether it's properly
Communicating.
processing it or communicating it, right? Or ever having been maybe as a child having your emotions acknowledged and working through that coping mechanisms, acknowledging the emotional piece to a child. Um, and that's where it can get stuck.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. If that makes
We
sense.
have a couple of minutes. I just want to cover one more thing.
I will
Um,
add to it one more thing.
oh,
Another
please.
beautiful exercise, if for people who want to really work on their lungs, is to go on the hikes. This is the best way you can train your lungs to bring in more oxygen. It's one of the best things to train yourself to get in more. The problem that our lungs get shrink with the time because of the fear, because of the sadness, because so the lungs get, especially people who are suffering from cough issues. So yes, this is the problem. They get shrunk. So how we train them? Because remember, everything in the body is can be trained. Like we can train to see better if we work on our vision. It's just a muscle. We can work on our heart if we work harder, train, expand the lungs. And you should do it while your children are still young. And that's what happens now. We all live in a small room in the tight conditions. It's not healthy. Open, go outside, breathe, and you feel right away where the problem is. Yeah. So the hiking I found is one of the most important things.
Right. And if you can't, if you're someone that doesn't live close enough to an area where you can hike longer walks, with more, I wouldn't suggest jogging right away because,
No jogging. Yeah.
no, but quick, brisk walking. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
So, like, start off. So, just so that you will be getting more exertion. So, your body is going to train itself on the expansion of the lungs. So, taking in more oxygen over time, or someone who has a body of water available near them, whether it be a pool, a lake, whatever, in good weather, you can also train your lungs more by swimming. So,
Yes.
exercise.
Yep.
But the right types of exercise, obviously.
Right.
And what if someone is experiencing like wheezing from exercising, or should we talk about wheezing or asthma really quickly? We do have a couple more minutes because we started a little bit late, if you guys are good to go over a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think asthma is something we should cover quickly, right? So asthma can be related to allergens or, a certain injections in children. I can't, I don't want to be booted off of here, but it is a symptom.
Yeah.
Asthma is a huge symptom, and every child nowadays has asthma. And why? It's because they're, given a huge amount of junk at such an early age, uh, prior to their lungs even being able to develop properly. And so, what is asthma, Sarah? And what, right? Because there's a definition to asthma. What is asthma? We can get it from different ways. We know that. But what is asthma and what can we do to treat it?
Okay, so I know this topic very well because I've had asthma since I was 3.
Hmm.
And asthma is there's two classifications. There's exercise induced or there's allergic asthma.
Right.
I often will see it combined. Not
What
always,
happened?
but
Oh,
we're here.
okay.
I
We're
often
good.
will see it combined. So I have both, of course.
Yeah, you
So,
do you suffer from a lot of allergies, and that's something that we know,
yep,
right?
yep. And allergies are part of it. For asthma, it's, any fine particle can irritate the lung, cats. Even if you're making bread and you inhale flour, it can trigger asthma. So asthma's definition is bronchial constriction and inflammation in the lung that inhibits your body from exhaling out air, not inhaling necessarily, but exhaling. And I can tell you, in general, someone who has asthma and you're having an attack, it's like you're breathing through a sponge. And it's really hard to do that. It really kind of sucks, actually. Breathing is fundamental, like reading. And it's really horrible when you can't breathe. So that's the definition of asthma. So there's inflammation and there's bronchial restriction or constriction. So the air tubes get really small and the outer part of all the lung tissue is inflamed. So it's just like I said, it's like breathing through a sponge. It's the worst feeling in the world. Uh And so, yeah, that's asthma.
And would you suggest using something like an inhaler, or what's an herb that's good
Well, I
to?
think anyone with, I mean, I'm not a big pill pusher or medicine pusher, but I can tell you someone with asthma, I I would suggest people get a rescue inhaler just in case, you know, and if you really want to address asthma, you would stop all wheat, all sugar, all dairy, watch your soy intake, stay away from all your allergens, and do herbs like a lobelia is excellent at stopping.
Right, because those things that you mentioned, they heighten the like, the mucus inside the lungs.
Yeah.
So those are things that you want to
So
avoid. Someone
lobelia will open. See,
expand.
lobelia, and Hava mentioned this. Lobelia is this really interesting plant where it's a stimulant and a relaxant, which is amazing. So it will open the lungs and relax them. And then with mullein, it's a sedative as well for the lungs. It reduces inflammation and it will help expectorate any mucus in there. And I was just because I'm doing this other class through IPAC right now, modern herbalism, I call it for short, but it's I'm looking at herbs, the science, and then we do protocol design with that. And frankincense. There's science with frankincense that shows us it can reduce the inflammation that is the hardest part about asthma is the inflammation, not
Of
the
the lungs, right?
constriction, but the inflammation. And taking frankincense can help with that. So
Right. Have anything to add on asthma? Any kind of herb related, or
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
not necessarily herb. Yes, I mean herbs
whatever,
obviously. Yeah.
anything,
But
anything.
I would right away put the person back on probiotics because you're forgetting the main important core. The child, if he had a good bacteria in his gut, he would not get anything because he would have up to 80% of immune system will be holding him safe in a safe, and so he would not get any asthma and no sickness and no problems. But once we eat a food with the glyphosate that destroys all the gut flora, then plus the medication, that creates a huge problem. And then the children as well as an adult. So now you can see now we see adults are also suddenly are have an asthma. It's not only baby's issue. Before it was
No, it's
baby,
not.
now
I'm just saying we
right.
see
But
a
I'm just
uptick
saying
in children
it's
nowadays.
because of the lack of the good bacteria. And for me, as soon the baby is born, no, prior the baby is born, the mom needs to take a special strain of probiotics. As soon the baby born, she needs to put this on her nipples so the baby will start a good. Putting right away into his immune system. We need to restore the gut microbiome. And once we restore that, everything will be fine. The mold will not be even an issue. Why?
right.
Because you will have so much good guys, and the mold will be easy job for for the problem to treat. And tell me any problem.
Or
It's
even a parasite. People are so obsessed about
That's
parasites, right?
crazy. What the hell is parasites? The parasites are actually the friends. They are
Right.
God. They are
But
there
but when you
because
have an increase of mold, lack of the good guys in the gut, then they can become a problem when they overgrow, right? We've
no, the
discussed this when we
parasite
talked.
come to munch on the garbage that's of
Right.
undigested food. What is the asthma? It's a toxicity. Toxicity of what? Toxicity either. What is inflammation? It's a heat. It's when the body raises a certain temperature to kill, to tell the immune system, hello, fight. But the immune system says, oh, I'm drained. I don't have workers. Everybody quit. And that's when you have the trouble and the child goes into the mode. But if you now restore the base, then there is no problem. So you need to understand that's why we have so many sick children. But go 100 years ago, if they would have a clean environment, which means we don't eat and poop in the same area, we wash our hands, we keep our animals separate, then listen, we can definitely live till hundreds. Why? That's a simple. The body is designed to rejuvenate and heal. But if we eat glyphosate,
Right.
which was invention in the cattle timing, again, and not just glyphosate, everything. You buy a furniture, it's full of toxins. It disturbs your microbiota in your system. It destroys all the good. So we're trying to treat a problem when it's not, it's just a side effect.
Right, because
Aspartame is just a
external
side
factors
effect.
all around
Exactly.
us.
Once you understand the base, and that's what I'm speaking about that. And you might say, Hava, but yeah, give me some herbs. Well, the herbs will come on top, but the first restore the
The
main.
stomach,
Right.
the gut, right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Then there is no problem. You can have a mold. See, many people would, I remember in Georgia, we would go, we lived by the sea. There was the shoes would get moldy. There was the towels would get. I've never seen anyone walking like that. People lived with mold for
Right.
years. Nothing happened. So what suddenly we're dying? Oh, there is a black mold. Please, God, save us. And then we like all go into this crazy mode. But why is that? It's because
The
we
gut.
no longer carry a good bacteria in our system. It's so simple. Once you get it, boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom. Boom.
Yep.
That's it. We got it.
Exactly. I love you
Okay.
guys.
That was beautiful.
It was, yeah. We always come back to the gut, people. So just remember that everything that we talk about, we always come back to the gut. Today is one of the first times we actually name dropped a product by name, something that Hava's been working with this company for quite some time. Like she mentioned, this is the mother of probiotics. So her family goes back hundreds of generations, like hundreds
700.
of years, 700 years.
700. Wow.
Yeah.
So Natasha
Right.
Trenev, her family 700 years ago has been making probiotics. So this recipe goes back, many, many generations. You can watch, a series of episodes on Hava's Instagram and her Facebook or YouTube channel as well with this brilliant woman that has formulated these probiotics. So Natron probiotics for the individual who's buying from a supermarket or directly. I'm not sure if she sells on Amazon, but go ahead and look it up. But yeah, okay. Well, I'm so happy to be back. It's great
You.
to see you
So nice to see
both.
you guys again.
Yes.
So beautiful seeing you. We hoped you all had an amazing Thanksgiving. I didn't mention that before. And, coming up a very beautiful Christmas and Happy New Year. But we will see you one more time this month
Yeah.
on Heal Yourself Naturally. We are going to go, I think, down a tiny bit more, cover what we can on the lungs that we didn't cover if we feel like we should cover more, and go down on the body more. We're going, I think I need another whole 4 episodes on the gut. So we'll talk a little bit more on the gut, starting with your esophagus. We'll go down.
Yeah,
Basically,
we
we're
Gonna go
going
might
down.
down.
also about the breast health, the female, male. I don't know. There's a
Oh,
lot.
yeah, we could talk about breasts, and then we can also tie in milk production as well. Anyways, people, sorry to bore you. This is how we
But,
get our juices flowing
but
with
we'll
that.
be back on the 17th.
Yes, we'll be back December 17th. Thank you all, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.